Framed it and put it on my wall, I think it would have had a much better home here in my house. They work. Like they sit down and then they do whatever they're able to do in a day.
I'm happy to be a part of the legacy you're building with Eclectic Arts.
Same.
I need to be outside. That's my office.
I write all of my music melody first.
They know about me more than me.
That's an expression that only my mom used to say, and nobody used that. I never heard anyone saying that.
Based here in Seattle, Washington, and thank you so much for joining me on this Tuesday, May 31st, 2022. And I'm very glad to be back. I've never taken such a long break ever since I started doing these, which was on May 22nd of 2020. So I haven't been in the virtual world for a little over a month now because the last one was on April 30th. That was not by choice. I was dealing with some health issues, which seem to have rectified themselves. So that's why I'm back doing what I love doing, including being here in the virtual world. So I probably am going to be a little bit rusty at doing these live stream interviews, but I'm so glad to be back and looking forward to talking about everything that's coming up. Speaking of which, this Thursday, the 2nd of June, gosh, we're already going to be in June starting tomorrow, but this Thursday, the 2nd at 7 p.m. Pacific, director Becky Tahel will be coming back. She was actually a director of a wonderful documentary called American Birthright, and we connected, I want to say last April, when her film was doing the film festival circuit, and now it's being shown in theaters. I know she's done a lot of work with communities and schools with it, and she also, just on a personal note, sold her house with her husband and daughter, and they went from LA all the way over to Philadelphia. They drove. So I want to hear about how that whole RV experience was last year. And so she's going to be coming up, and also find out what she has beyond American Birthright, because I believe she's been working on some other projects. So that is at 7 p.m. Pacific. And I have, finally that I'm back, I have some other guests that I'm just trying to lock down the days and times. So I expect to be doing quite a few live streams in June, which makes me very happy. But also, as many of you know, I am back to in-person things, and I just started going back after being ill to concerts and plays and everything else that I normally do. So if you'd like to know what I have coming up, please follow me as Eclectic Arts Media, one word, on Instagram. That's where I post everything first. And then some of that information migrates over to other media, social media platforms. If this is your first time joining me on my YouTube channel, if you could do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button and also the notification bell, I greatly appreciate that. And if you're on the Twitch side of things, if you could follow me over there, that's where I started, again, just over 2 years ago with Alice on their virtual tour. I appreciate that. And speaking of Alice, I can let people know that are watching this now, since it's been, again, a month since I've done a virtual live stream interview, that I will be rejoining Alice on Saturday, June 18th. And we're kind of do a throwback. They're actually going to do a live stream concert again. And instead of me opening the show by interviewing a guest, the band is going to interview me. So this should be interesting. And it's going to be for about an hour from 5 to 6 p.m. Pacific. Again, I'll be posting about this on my Instagram as it gets closer. But if you want to know and want to put me in the hot seat, it's going to happen on Saturday, the 18th. That is also 2 days after my birthday. So I'm looking forward to reconnecting with the band. And the reason they're doing this is that they wanted to do a throwback, because then 2 days later, they're actually on their summer tour in person, and they will be making their way up to Seattle on July 1st. So I'll get to see the band in person after all the work we did 2 years ago. So lots of things going on, but I'm really, really excited to talk about what's coming up with my guest that's here this evening. And hope everyone's doing really well out there. If you're watching this now, if you're watching this down the road. My guest today is a well-known vocalist in the symphonic metal world. She and her band have a brand new album coming out on June 17th on Frontiers Music called Emerge. Please welcome back to the Eclectic Arts Virtual Studio from Chaos Magic, CATERINA NIX.
Hi.
Hi, Katerina. How are you?
Very good. Thank you for having me back.
Yeah, it's so good to have you back. I actually looked through my channel to see when was that first interview we did, and it was April of last year.
Right.
Yeah, and then you came back for 2 fun table sessions in September and December. So it's like talking to an old friend.
Yeah, it feels like home.
Awesome. So hey, let's just dive right into the new album since that's going to be coming out a day after my birthday in June.
Ooh, nice present.
Yeah, it is a nice present.
Hopefully.
You've kind of talked to me in the past a little bit about this, but now that you've got 2 singles and 2 music videos out and everything else, when did everything start in terms of the songwriting and the recording of Emerge? How far back did we go?
I would say right after the pandemic started, we of course have a contract with the label, so we have certain dates and that we have to fulfill, right? So yeah, it was about, I would say, a couple of months into the pandemic when we started planning and I started this writing process, and it was really hard because I was um, just separated. I moved to another house and the pandemic hit us and I was confined, and I just really didn't have like the will to connect with my emotions in order to write something. So it was pretty hard at first, but then I realized, this is a process where I can heal certain things and I can address certain issues through music and through creation. And that's what I did. So it was really hard at first because we were all confined. You know that I have a co-writer who is actually is also our producer, and we couldn't get together. We were just trying to work over Zoom meetings, and I would record things in my cell phone, send them over. He would send something back, and that's the way we wrote the album. And it has a very special energy, I would say, because it reflects a lot of what I was going on. It was going on my life in that period.
Okay, so is it a fair assessment then that this is the most personal album that you've done for Chaos Magic?
Well, the first one wasn't written by me, but Furyborn was definitely personal in other levels, I would say. And this just drills much deeper into my emotions. So yeah, in a certain way, it is.
Okay, yeah, I know from talking to other guests that the whole pandemic period, especially for bands, like you just mentioned, that trying to, if you had other personal things going on and then just having the pandemic on top of it, that
Right.
it's an interesting snapshot of what comes out on their albums now. And either they're really, really emotional and or they're really, really angry.
Well, we have a lot of that too in Emerge.
Okay, cool. And for probably at some point, maybe even later in June, I'll probably get a chance to hear the whole album as an advance from the publicist. But I've only heard what the fans have heard, which are the 2 singles that have been put out in the video. So if we start with the title track of Emerge, what's the story behind that particular tune?
Well, as I was saying, I was going through a really complicated family situation. So you see that in the video, it's a golden cage where you have everything you're supposed to have, like it's comfortable, but it's still a prison. And it's about that. It's about escaping a prison that was comfortable for you, and in order to have freedom, you have to suffer. And sometimes you miss your prison, once you're free. And sometimes the freedom is it's not what you really wanted, but in the end you see the light, right? It sounds so cliche, but it's the video is so literal. Like it's exactly what the lyrics are narrating. So if you see the video, you will understand what the music is about and what the lyrics are about. And yeah, you finally see the light, and you have to take it from there. Like, you got your freedom, and now you have to decide what you do with it.
Okay, so that explains. I was watching the video before we connected. Well, watching it again, I should say, because I've seen it a couple of times. even just the title of emerge, to me in my mind is kind of like you're kind of emerging from whatever circumstance you were in into something
Exactly.
new. Okay.
And also the cover has all these symbols, the lotus flowers, what they represent hope, and the snakes are the thing that are pulling you down. So if you see in my hand, I'm holding like a crystal lotus flower, and that says a lot about it.
Okay. I'll have to look at the details a little bit more. And what can you tell me about the music video for it? Like, when was that shot, and what was that whole process like?
Well, we're working with a great production company. They found an amazing place. If you see this catacombs, that's a cemetery, actually. And it was a funny thing because when we got there, we were supposed to have all the permits and everything, and the administrator came and said, "Get out of here." But we didn't. We hid, we waited, we still shot it. And yeah, we were so nervous, but I think the results are really good. It's everything I was imagining in my mind.
Okay, yeah, no, it came out really well, and I love the fact that you and your crew decided just to continue staying there until you could get in there and actually do what you wanted to do anyway.
We try to stay quiet, like it's a very quiet place. Like if you make noise, someone will notice.
It's very rock and roll.
Absolutely. Can't live without them.
Yeah, to say, screw you, we're still going to shoot here anyway.
Yeah, it was the only day we had available, and it was paid for. So.
Okay, and to me, like that title track, and then if you look at the second video for In the Depth of Night, they're similar but definitely different. There's a different feel to them. And so if we move into the second music video and second song, what can you tell me about that particular song, In the Depth of Night?
Well, it's the way I planned it, to get one of the darkest tunes of the record and have this contrast with the other, pole of the album, music wise, so they are very different. And I would say it's the point A and the point B in the album, and all the other songs are in between. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So they're very different. Of course, they keep the sound that we have been designing for a bit for Chaos Magic. And I really wanted to do like a flashy, super party worthy video. And since I'm a child of the 80s, I really wanted to have that vibe. So yeah, it was a different experience, a different song, a different vibe. It was so cold. Like I can't even describe how cold it was. But also I really, really like the results. And if you ask me which song I play more, it's In the Depth of Night.
Okay, interesting. When I first heard that particular song, it reminded me a little bit of like more of the, not modern, but some of the output from bands like Within Temptation. There's something about that song that kind of reminds me a little bit of that, mixed with like 80s stuff between the two. And then Emerge has much more, to me, more of a symphonic, a grandiose kind of a sound. So when you're talking about from A to B and the other songs are in between, that makes sense to me that you kind of have these two juxtapositions over here and then all the other ones fit in between. Okay, awesome. And so did you, particularly for In the Depth of Night for the video, did you have input then, since you're, like you said, you're a child of the 80s, do you have input in how that video came out? Because it does have an 80s vibe to it.
I dressed everyone. I supervised the rental of that car. Okay. Yeah, I mean, before we even shoot the videos, I write an email with all my ideas and the way I want the lights to look and the look that I want us to have. Because, my bandmates, they're like, okay, dress us. But yeah, it was teamwork, but all the input from my mind was there.
Okay, no, that's cool. And I just kind of thought about something else that I think maybe you had shared in one of our previous online live stream sessions about when did you guys actually start recording the tracks for this? You talked about when you started writing it at the beginning of the pandemic, but when did you actually start recording these tracks?
I don't even remember the dates, you know. It's been 2 years of a soup of the same day repeating itself. I don't even remember the date exactly, but I would say 6 months ago, a bit more. Yeah.
Okay.
7 months ago.
So let's see, it's June tomorrow. So kind of like the fall then, maybe like September-ish, maybe.
Ish.
Emphasis on the ish.
Right. Not that it matters, but
okay. Yeah, I'm just thinking that some of the artists that I've talked to, that it took them a long time to get their product together recording wise, and the other ones they were just like itching, and once they could actually get clear to get into the studio, they did it like over a weekend because they were so well rehearsed on working on their parts. They just went in and banged it out, and then they wanted to get back on the road so they could make some money, basically.
Right.
And I don't know how things are down there in Chile, but at least up here in the States, that for the most part, bands have been able to tour. There have been some that have been postponed recently till the fall. But I've been able to go back to most of the shows that I got approved to cover actually happened. So that was nice, except for maybe one of them got postponed. And because again, I think back to when we first talked over a year ago, it was like such a different thing going on, because at least for me, I wasn't going to anything in person at that point. Back in 2021. Yeah. And here we are in almost June of 2022. And granted, some things have opened up, but then at least around here, it's kind of weird. I think everyone's just kind of tired of this stuff. At the same time, the numbers are going up. And then, like I shared with you, and I don't have a problem sharing with everybody else, I tested positive for COVID myself. So I got a personal up close experience with how awful it can be for some people. And seeing that, it's just going to be something like we were saying earlier that we're going to have to live with. We're going to have to kind of go up and down with it, and maybe we'll have a good patch for the summer or winter down there, and maybe it'll start roaring back in the fall up here, in the spring down. I don't know. That's such a weird virus.
it is. We don't know the kind of evolution that it's going to have. It acts different on everyone. Like everyone I know who had it has had like different symptoms, and it's very strange. So we are just hoping for the best. Things are looking better here also. We don't have as many restrictions as we used to. We still have to wear a mask indoors on public places, but not anymore outside. Shows are getting done. We haven't had any cancellations lately, but I haven't dared yet to plan to play abroad, because there's so much uncertainty still going on, and I can't afford to have a tour canceled or certain shows canceled. So we're just dedicating ourselves to promote the album and to make all the material, the videos, etc.
Okay, that's understandable. Again, for me, some of the fans out there that don't understand how much of a financial burden it is to tour anywhere, to have it just even a few shows pulled from a tour, it makes a huge difference about it.
Huge difference. And we're from Chile, so it's not like we are, living in Europe and it would be as easy as to take a train to another city. It's a 20-something hour flight with everything that entails.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I'm thinking about some of the other folks that I've done international interviews with too, that said the same things. Like, yeah, we probably aren't going to be touring until, hopefully the fall. They'll just have to kind of see, so that they don't want to take the risk.
Yes.
And
I feel it's not the time yet.
Yeah, and if it's And definitely if it's something that like in your gut, it doesn't feel right yet to get out there and do it, then yeah, then your gut's probably right. It's like, don't do it yet. And the time will come, hopefully, where it's like, yeah, you know,
Yeah, the
things.
time will come. Like I know it will.
Yeah, because I'm sure you can't wait to be back, you know, in front of people doing a tour, and the fans can't wait to have you back out there, especially playing these songs that are coming up.
We do have a few great shows coming here in Chile. I can't disclose them yet. I can tell you when we finish the interview. Well, one of them is Timo Tolki. He's returning to Chile with a great lineup. So we're going to be opening for them, and our partners from Sinner's Blood, which is one of the projects of our producer, Nason. It's also going to be playing there. So it's going to be a great night, and we are very much looking forward to it. But around those dates, we have been confirmed for another big show. And I'm counting the hours and the days to be able to scream at everyone that we're going to be there.
Well, that's awesome news that you have these two big shows, and then Timo's coming back there, and I had a chance to talk with him. I guess that was a year ago for the Avalon project that you were a part of.
Right.
And you know what I like about him is that he is no bullshit. He says what he thinks.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very honest. He doesn't have anything to hide.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that, because then you know where you stand with somebody like that. And I've never talked to him before prior to that, so I was a little taken aback initially, because I thought he was going to just kind of want to talk about the album and talk about whatever, and he started interjecting his opinion on all kinds of things. But again, I love that. I love that honesty, because then you know exactly where the guy stands.
Right. Yeah, that's how he is.
Yeah, and obviously being an amazing musician and songwriter and everything else, and you've got a really amazing lineup. Sounds like for that one show, and then we'll have to see what this other show is that you have coming up. So, but that's great that you have shows on the schedule. They are going to happen at some point. So.
Yeah, and in November we have another one. So yeah, it's going to be great.
Okay. Yeah. And sometimes that's all it takes, is just having that thing to look forward to, because like as we knew from a year ago, we just didn't know what we could look forward to. But now you have those things on your schedule, and the fans will get a chance to read about it and maybe see like the phone videos on YouTube of songs and stuff that people record from the audience.
Yeah, well, we just want to go back to the stage. That's where we belong.
Awesome. Yeah. And it was, I know for myself, the first concert I went back to in person was in December, but it was a sit down show. It was kind of mellow, but just being back there and that whole feeling of the energy from the stage to the fans and vice versa, it felt so good. And then the first like crazy metal rock show I went back to was Cannibal Corpse. So you can imagine what that was like. And that was
one.
That was in March, and that whole kick in the gut and bodies coming over the barricade, and I'm trying not to get kicked in the neck because I'm in the photo pit.
Classic.
That was good times. I really missed it, and it felt so good to be back in that environment, because I knew exactly what it was, and I'd waited. It did, like you were saying earlier, it didn't feel right to me yet, but in that time it did feel right when I said, hey, they're coming back. I feel good about where things are and where I'm at, so I want to be in there. Let's go for it. Oh my gosh! And speaking of kind of some of these other metal bands, you posted a picture recently from, I don't know how long ago this was, where you had a record from Megadeth, and I think it was signed by, I don't know if that was Dave or somebody had signed it. What? How far back was that, from the Rust in Peace era of the band? It looked like.
Actually, yes, yeah. It's one of the first times they came, very long ago. I was very young. Yeah, but it's actually signed by all four members, and it was there was Nick Mensa's signature there also. So as I was telling you, I moved a couple of years ago, and I still had things in boxes, things that I haven't even seen, old magazines, and in between I found this, and I was like so excited, because I didn't even remember that I had that. So I just decided to take the fangirl picture right there and just share it on Instagram, because it was like a surprise, because I didn't even remember about that.
That can be some of the best things when, you didn't even remember that you had it, and then here it is. Oh my gosh, I completely forgot about this.
It brought nice memories from my youth.
Yeah. So, do you remember much about that show when Megadeth was down there way back when?
I do remember. I was really young, and somehow I got my dad to come with me to the hotel and see if I could get to meet them. So yeah, they they actually let us come in. I was with my dad, and they were really nice. Got us backstage passes and everything. So it was a great experience.
Wow. Now,
I was 16, I think.
okay. Wow.
Do the
Well, that's awesome that you have that memory, and also that they're really nice and really really good to you as well.
Yeah, they were really nice.
Yeah, because there's that whole saying about don't meet your heroes, because you might be disappointed when you meet them if they're a jerk or something. So
Oh well, I did have a bad experience with Iron Maiden. I did the same thing with my dad. Like my dad was my sidekick for everything, and of course he didn't want me to go alone, which I understand. So yeah, I went to the hotel with my dad. We went down the parking lot, so there were no guards, no questions asked. All the other fans were outside, and we went there, and Bruce Dickinson was actually sitting in a sofa somewhere, and I saw him, and I wanted to take a picture, and this big, huge guard grabbed me by the arm and just pushed me away like I was a trash bag. And I was like so shocked, because I was really young, and Bruce Dickinson saw this, and he didn't say a word. He saw this and like, yeah, well done. That's why I have guards for.
Oh wow, that's terrible.
Yeah, that was awful. Still like him though. I like his music.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to think if I had any bad experiences meeting people. I've had bad experiences, but not as a kid though. As an adult, so it's a little different. I think if you're an adult, you can kind of handle it better. If I had been a young person and went to meet
I would have
one of
punched the guard.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if I had been, because I was way into Kiss and Maiden and Metallica when I was growing up, and so if I'd met one of those guys or tried to, and then some guard grabbed me and shoved me off to some corner, I would have been devastated.
Yeah, well, it was pretty awful, but it's the law of what you could expect when you do things like this.
Yeah, I just kind of always reminds me to, and not that granted, when you're a band of that stature, there's going to be there's a reason why they have bodyguards and all that kind of stuff, but I still think there's a way to kind of handle people, especially if it's a kid. It's not like some drunk 22-year-old coming after you. I always talk. My mom watches most of my live streams, so hi mom if you're watching right now.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah, and I always tell her, because she's a senior citizen or whatever, that she could get whatever she wants, because they just see a senior citizen. They see someone who's completely harmless. So if she wants to go meet somebody in a band,
not the case all the time. No.
Yeah, because I know in my case, depending on who it is that sees me, they don't want to do anything for me. They see some scary bald guy or whatever. They're not very nice to me sometimes if they don't know who I am. But see that goes back to everyone's a fan. Everyone remembers bands that they loved growing up with, and I think obviously you're in your own band and other projects that you do professionally, so that's always great. But everyone has. It doesn't matter. Even Maine's got their they're fans of certain bands, and Kiss are fans of the Beatles, and all that stuff goes backwards and all that kind of thing. So everyone's a fan of somebody.
Yeah, that's right. And if you have the chance to meet these people who have marked your life so much, I say go for it.
Yeah, because it also could be like maybe the only time you'll get a chance to do it too.
Yeah.
So if they're going to be around, and if you're just being respectful, I think that's probably the right word. If you're respectful in how you try to approach somebody, And if they're not going to do it, then they don't do it. But just don't be a jerk about it, because then no one wants to deal with a jerk. I don't want to deal with a jerk.
Nobody wants to.
So if we go back to Chaos Magic and the Emerge album, which is coming out on June 17th on Frontiers Music, is there a third music video / single coming out from the record?
Yes, it is. We're gonna be shooting this Saturday, and yeah, we're returning a bit to the darkness. This is actually the heaviest of the 3 first singles, so I'm really looking forward to it. And I don't want to give too many hints or anything, but it's pretty dark, symphonic, and heavy.
Sounds good to me. All those adjectives. Oh my gosh. And is that going to be something that you shoot just on Saturday, or is it going to have to be a Saturday, Sunday thing to shoot this video?
No, we have a pretty defined schedule. And, our guitar player, he lives in the south of Chile, so he has to take a flight to Santiago. And, he's sacrificed a lot to be here for the videos and everything. So as I was saying, we're working with really great professional guys, and they have everything planned out.
Okay, all right. I kind of flashback to the first Fun Table session that you were a part of with Camille and Drew back in, I think it was September when we did that. And you had mentioned something during that. It's funny that I remember this, that you said something during that Fun Table session about how you would love to be able to be in a music video of your own, but kind of like act out like a part. Right. And you're kind of like, I don't know how that would work or how I would do that. Is that something you're still interested in trying to do at some point?
Well, I wouldn't call it acting. It's more like being up on stage and, just being you, but in that character. What happened with Emerge, that it had a little like story or backstory to it. But I don't know. I wouldn't dare to act and call it acting. I don't deserve it. I respect actors too much. But I was watching the new material from Charlotte Wessels.
Yeah.
African, and I loved it. And I think she did so great. I don't know. I mean, I know her, but we're not close or anything. But I really loved what she did. And I was asking myself, wow, would I be able to do something like that? And I don't think so.
I don't know. It's probably never say never. Maybe in the future there's something that will kind of work for you. You have an idea in your head, and I feel ready. Possibly,
if something comes up, I would think about it.
Yeah, and I've interviewed Charlotte. Gosh, I think the first one was like in 2013, the first time they ever came to America. So I've met her. I've met her several times, and we've done some pretty long interviews at times in person back when I could do those. And, it's interesting that because she's such a, it didn't surprise me that she would come out with something like that particular song and video concept, because she's had it in her brain forever. She's had all these kind of things just kind of percolating. And then once everything happened with Delaney and the separation and all that, then she could fully focus into like, right. I don't have to answer to anybody now. I don't have to compromise. I can do whatever I want. And this is what's in my head, so I want to do it. And it's really interesting, the stuff that's in her head.
Yeah, it is. I like it a lot. It's pretty dark. She didn't seem so dark when I met her. She was like the nice plant lady.
Yeah, she loves her plants and animals, and very much a vegan, vegetarian, all for that kind of thing. And I still remember the last interview we did in person when they came to Seattle. They had gone to a Subway sandwich shop for lunch. And I knew she was vegan. And I was like, do they have vegan things there? And she said, no, they only have vegetarian. So sometimes I just have to just go with a vegetarian option because I can't find a full vegan thing. Because I remember her sandwich was sitting there, and I felt bad because we were going to do the interview. I'm like, what do you need to eat? I could go, come back in half an hour or something. Oh no, Mark, I'll just eat after. It'll just sit there. So the sandwich was.
I could not do that.
Yeah, because I remember she had texted me about she wanted to move the interview like an hour later, which was like at 4:00 or something. And yeah, they're going around trying to find food. So she came back with that sandwich. But yeah, and I think she's doing a concert in sometime in the fall. She's been kind of promoting that she's going to have a big kind of return to the stage thing of her as a solo artist and the whole 6 Feet Under. Yeah, so maybe at some point, yeah, in the future when Chaos Magic is doing a tour in Europe, and if she's not off doing her own tour or something, that you guys can kind of cross paths again.
That would be great. Like, I'm looking forward to everything and anything that we could add to our plate.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely getting that feeling of like, you know, once you kind of get the green light when it feels good, and like it's like, okay, let's do this, let's do that, and see some friends you haven't seen in a while, and meet some new friends, and perhaps play new places, maybe like Seattle.
That would be so great. Like, I would love to tour North America, and it's been in our minds for a bit, but we, as I was saying, we haven't planned for anything yet.
Yeah, maybe in 2023, kind of depending on where things are. One of the best things still is that I thought when touring bands were going to start playing shows again around here, that we would only see like US bands or maybe Canadian bands. But some of the first tours that came to Seattle were the ones from Europe, these bands that, you know, got the money together and the visas and whatever else. And they came over here and toured. And we're seeing, so like we just saw, who was just here, like Visions of Atlantis was just here, I think, for the first time. And some other,
I think they were touring with Powerful, if I'm correct.
yeah, that sounds right. And here they played with oh gosh, come on, Mark, with Dragon Force.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that type of band that really hasn't had a chance to come over, oddly enough, now is coming over here to the States.
Yeah, and it's nice to see that kind of music, which is kind of similar or just in the same universe as ours, it's getting attention over there because it opens the door.
Exactly, and I'm thinking even like with a band on the level of Nightwish, they just did kind of a small tour here in the U.S., but there's such a demand because people had to wait for 2 years to see any of their favorite bands. Even like when I mentioned when I saw Cannibal Corpse, that almost every show on that tour sold out because people wanted to go see them. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to wait because tomorrow may not come, so go see them now.
That's right, and it's a good moment for touring bands, because everyone is eager to go to the shows and to festivals and just go to have this feeling of normality.
Absolutely, and yeah, it's been great for the band and great for the fans, and just kind of everybody. So and eventually, Chaos Magic will be doing exactly the same thing, and you'll be reconnecting with everybody, and just having that feeling of being back on the stage in front of a live audience. Well, you're going to have it soon, just not on the tour, situation.
I'm so looking forward to it.
And before we kind of start wrapping this up, what's the status of some of your other projects? Because you kind of had your hands in other projects besides Chaos Magic. Are there other things that you're also still working on, or things that are coming up?
We're still working with Somberwind. It's a rock goth project which isn't mine. It was started by Marco Cusato, which is a very recognized musician here from the goth movement, but he has other bands, thrash metal band and everything, but he's pretty well recognized here. And what started as invitation to sing on a few songs ended up being an invitation to stay in the project and just be part of it. So he's working on new songs, and I'm very excited about it because I really like the vibe, and I get to do something different from what I'm currently doing on my own. And I had a lot of activity while I was secluded. So there's another album coming, which is called Dragon Blood by an Italian musician. He's called Gabriel Gabriels. And we recorded that like a year and a half ago, and it's going to be released soon. Well, you see that I participated in Avalon, Timotalkis Avalon, and also this Portuguese band that I had the pleasure to share the stage with in Portugal. They're called Glacia, and they invited me to sing in one of their songs. Their record is out. It's called Atragan. And Vivaldi Metal Project, I always talked about them. They have already released their new album, Epiclassica, and they are releasing their singles now also. So if you want to listen to that, they're out. Yeah, everything is moving, everything is great, and I'm always looking forward to more collaborations and working with other musicians. So there's a couple of projects in my mind, but for now I have to focus on Emerge and Chaos Magic.
Okay, well, that's great that you have other things that are going to finally see the light of day. Some of the other projects, and yeah, clearly working on focusing on Chaos Magic and Emerge. And I remember, I think we talked about this at one point during one of the other live streams, that you have a real interest in like perfumes and scents and things like that. So I'm wondering, like, so what are you wearing today?
Oh, Juliet has a gun, Lady Vengeance.
Lady Vengeance. Okay.
Lady Vengeance. Yeah, it's wonderful.
And have you given any more, even like an inkling of thought to possibly having like your own scent that ties into like with Chaos Magic, or even with the Emerge album, like the Emerge scent or something?
That would be so great. It's just like in the dream cabinet right now. But who knows, maybe in the future.
Okay, yeah, I think it's something that fans, they're always kind of interesting in that some fans are starting to look for what else is there in the merch table besides the T-shirt and the CD and the whatever. And so that I'm seeing other artists that are doing like lip gloss, lipsticks, other kinds of things.
Oh,
and
really?
It's starting to become a thing now. And it's our nail polish that men or women buy so they can put it on and be all gothed out or metalled out or whatever. It's interesting. Yeah, they're branching out there, so it makes perfect sense since you already have a love of scents to put your own out.
You know what? I really like that. I'm gonna think about it.
There we go. I'd love to see a bottle of something that has that on there.
That would look good on the merch table. Yes.
It would, and if you're wearing it, and people, what's that wonderful scent? Oh, it's this. It's my own scent from my.
Oh, I can perfume the T-shirts.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you do like the meet and greets that people the fans do and that kind of thing, you could be wearing it and spray their their paper with it or something. But I truly think it is for someone that already has a love of that, it does kind of make sense that to at least give it some thought. It doesn't have to come to fruition right now, but maybe for one of those big shows you have coming up, that could be sitting at the merch table in the fall. So
I think I have a couple of months to work on that.
There we go. Well, CATERINA, it was awesome getting a chance to reconnect with you after about 5 months, almost 6 months since the last time I saw you. And I'm looking forward to hearing the whole Emerge album fairly soon. And that way I can take in the whole thing. And before we actually sign off for the night and that kind of thing, do you have any special guests on this record? I think you do. Is there anyone that you can mention?
Do.
Okay.
We do. Yes, we have Elina Cirala from Leaves Eyes, and she did an amazing job with. It's a song that I created as a duet, so it was preconceived as that, and she just gave it the perfect shade of color to the song. So it's called Garden of Winter. We do have some material to make a video. So after we release our third video, I think we're gonna start working on that one. Yeah, she did an amazing job, and she's very friendly and very nice to work with. And we also have for the digital version of the album, Jake E. He's a former singer for Amaranth and currently in Sira, I think you pronounce it.
Mm-hmm.
And also, yeah, we were looking for certain voices that would match mine in a certain way. And I think it's as we have previously done it. they were a great match. So I'm really looking forward to showing the world these songs.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So we've got, and I believe, if correct me if I'm wrong, on the regular release, there's 11 songs, and there's also like a digital bonus one, a 12th song if you buy the digital like download. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. And I forgot to take a look. Does Frontiers have like bundles available now, like pre-order things that have like a T-shirt and an album and a thing, or do they just have the CD version that you can pre-order? Do you know what's available merch-wise?
Yes, you can pre-order. Well, the information is on my bio on Instagram. You just click there in the link, and you will get directly to the pre-order link. So it's going to be available on all platforms. And if you want more things, ask Frontiers Records, and maybe we can do something. But for now, just CDs. And I think I'm going to start selling T-shirts, but I'm going to be sending them on my own from Chile. So I'm just still just trying to get clarity of the best way to do that.
Okay. All right. No, that's awesome. I'll definitely be following your socials to see when the T-shirts are ready to actually start being purchased and that kind of thing. So I can wear one here. Can wear one here when I'm doing my live streams. Well, CATERINA, again, thank you so much for taking the time. It's so good to connect with you, and I love the music that you've been doing, and you're such a lovely person on top of that. So always love having you come back, and you're welcome back here anytime.
Thank you so much, and thanks for the invitation again. Always a pleasure to talk with you in and out of camera. So congratulations on your recovery, and I really hope that you keep doing this and giving us just a screen and a place and a voice to us artists.
Well, thank you very much, and I definitely plan on continuing this as long as I possibly can. So, all right, until next time, take care down there and have a good night.
You too. Thank you.